Hey, Sean. Can you give us an update on placing Ahkello on IR and any other injuries?
Yep. So we are going to place Ahkello. We've placed Ahkello on IR. Got a fracture in his clavicle, and so don't think that that'll require surgery, which is a good thing. But that's a bummer for him. Steve's making good progress with his ankle, and then yesterday in pregame warmups, Fisk tweaked his oblique a little bit. He was able to play, but his snap count was down a little bit. He's feeling better today, but he'll be a guy that we'll monitor throughout the course of the week. Jordan Whittington had a little bit of groin soreness, and then Colby Parkinson is making good progress with his shoulder, with his AC sprain, moving towards this week. And then everybody else, kind of your typical bumps and bruises, but those are the guys that might see reflected on the injury report when we come back on Wednesday.
Will Darius kind of move into that role or at least in a rotational role with the cornerbacks?
Yeah, I thought he did a really good job yesterday, Gary. He came in, played 26 snaps, made some good progress. I thought it was a really good reflection of his maturity to be ready to go. You had Forbes play almost 50 snaps. Jacoby Duran ended up playing, 41, I believe. But the answer is, I think it's good to be able to use those guys. I was really pleased with Forbes and with Jacoby. And then I was really pleased with D Will coming in, and we're still in the midst of kind of getting started on Philly putting those games, that game plan together. But I think using all three of those guys will be to our benefit.
And do you expect Steve to be able to play on Sunday against the
I'm not
Eagles?
sure. I think he'll be a week to week deal. I know he was encouraged with how he felt afterwards, and he's making good progress today. But we'll take that a day at a time. And I thought in his absence, I thought Justin Dedich stepped up and did a really nice job yesterday.
And finally, were you able to watch the Eagles and the Chiefs on the plane ride home? Did the Wi-Fi work? And what were your impressions?
Wi-Fi did work. There was certain touch points where the Falcons and Vikings game, I missed parts of that I would have liked to have seen, but we did see it. It was it came down to the wire. It seemed like all those games in the latter part of the afternoon window came down to the wire, but I'll look forward to really diving into the tape. Right now we're kind of just putting to bed yesterday's game. And then usually my preparation after I get done with the media gauntlet now will start on Kansas City after, or on the Eagles after that, and watching that Kansas City game.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Stu.
On with Ahkello's injury, is that something that you guys feel like you have the talent either on the roster already or the practice squad in terms of addressing that absence, however long it may be, or will you explore avenues as far as like trading for or potentially signing somebody to fill that void?
Yeah, no, we've got a bunch of guys that we're confident in, but we will have a plan that we're working through that you'll see. We'll bring somebody in, and that'll be good.
Sarah.
Hey, Sean, when you watched the Davante Adams film this offseason, convinced him to come here and signed him and partnered him with Matthew and Puka, is this game kind of what you hope for from them?
Yeah, I thought they did a really good job. I think, yeah, I mean, Davante played really well. I thought he played really well last week. I know, we get caught up, and I know that's not what you're asking, Sarah, so don't misunderstand my answer about, sometimes we get caught up in stats and stuff like that. But he affected in the game in a really positive way last week with 4 for 51, even, and he drew two PIs. He had some great matchups with Stingley. Yesterday, Snead traveled around with him a little bit, but it was good for him to be able to make the plays that he did. We needed all six of those catches. And it was a positive day. I thought Matthew did a great job of being able to really get both he and Puka involved. It was cool to be able to get Jay Witt. Higbee made some plays. So I was pleased. I think we're at our best when the ball gets spread around, but Davante did an excellent job yesterday.
Matthew said that Puka and Davante complement each other. Can you kind of explain what that means?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're two great players, and I think their skill sets, there's a different way that they both figure out a way to separate work edges, but ultimately as receivers, they get open, they catch the ball, and they can create after the catch, and that's a big deal for us. But I think some of the different complementary skill sets, just different tools that they have, but they're both, great players, and and we can kind of use them. I think it's no different than, two great runners where, their skill sets complement one another. I would imagine that's kind of what Matthew meant by that.
And what do you remember about calling Puka to ask him what he thought about you guys signing Davante?
He's always such a great dude. He was actually at Kobe Turner's wedding, so he probably thought he probably thought something was wrong. I said, no, there's a good chance this could happen. How do you feel about it? And he was excited. I just think, in a lot of instances, that it's kind of a case by case, but the communication, the clarity, and getting the opinions of guys in that room. I talked to Tutu about the same thing as well. So, those are things that I think you just want to make sure that, ultimately it's our job to make the decisions that are best for the team. But where there's an opportunity to be able to be inclusive with the communication, so that, people aren't necessarily caught off guard, but they're involved in it. You feel like that can be the right thing to do. But Puka was awesome. He was great about it, and probably interrupted him from a couple dance moves at Kobe's wedding.
Thank you.
Adam?
Sean, with Ahkello, is there a potential timeline for return, or is that a season ender?
Yeah, it would be late. I think it's probably 12 weeks, so it's a few months, which, you don't say, you don't eliminate the total possibility if we're fortunate enough to extend our season. I don't know exactly what date that would fall on. Too dumb to think about anything other than getting started on Philly after this. But I would not eliminate that. That's the nice thing about the IR. You can put a guy on IR and then designate him to return at a later date once you get closer, if you haven't used up all the available, ways that you can, or the available number of options you can do that with. So would not cancel out him playing again for us this year.
And when you looked at the film from yesterday, did anything jump out about Byron's day that maybe you didn't see live?
A lot of it you felt live. I think just the relentless pursuit, the energy, the ability to be able to make a bunch of different plays in both phases. You guys have heard me talk about it. I think there's certain guys on game day, you feel them. I felt him all day. I felt the way that he was able to pursue, to force the ball out of Ward's hands a couple times when he's scrambling. His ability to relentlessly play through the echo of the whistle, which was reflected on his sack fumble. His production in the run game to be able to win on some two-man games when I thought he was excellent, and the film just confirmed that.
And there's been a clip going around today just where the Eagles look like they're jumping on the tush push. Is that something, when you see something like that, what kind of conversations, if any, do you have preemptively with officials on game day?
Yeah, anytime that you see certain things, you have conversations with the league office to just make sure you're understanding how's it officiated, how can we coach it. I did see some of those things last night, and that'll obviously be a big talking point because they're such a damn good team and it's such a successful play for them. So those are conversations with the league office, but I'm sure they'll have the same ones, and operate within the confines of not getting a little bit of a rolling start before the ball is snapped.
Thank you.
You got it.
Wyatt?
Hey, Sean. Back to Byron. Yesterday you said that you feel like he's taken his game to the next level. What do you think he's worked on or improved in his game to be able to do that?
I think it's just a consistent approach every single day. Continuing to still realize what are the elite things I can bring to the table. How am I doing my role within the framework of each call? That Coach Shule and the defensive coaches activate on a snap by snap basis. But think, as you gain experience, when you approach things the right way, that repetition can be the mother of learning. He's seen more things. He's played a ton of snaps, going into his third year. He's really made a tremendous impact. He's so coachable, and he's got a relentless motor. And I think he's adding some things where he's playing with great hands, great violence. He's understanding how to be able to anticipate getting off on the count to work edges on people. So I think he's just sharpening all of his tools, and then he's using the experience that he's acquired over the last few years to apply it in the right types of situations that arise throughout the course of a game. It's fun to see him just play the way that he's capable of. And in a lot of instances, sometimes things come to you when you do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Brock, and then we'll wrap up with Nate.
I apologize. My camera's not working.
Oh, you're good, Brock.
Where are you with Terrance Ferguson's development plan, and what does that future look like for you?
We'll see. I mean, I thought it was a hell of a play that he made, on the blocked extra point to be able to go track that thing down. Like I mentioned to you guys post game, he's done a really good job, and I think it's a case by case thing. He ended up playing on third downs a lot of the time yesterday. Ball didn't necessarily find him, but he did it. He did a good job, and so I think it'll only be an incremental build. I was really pleased with Tyler Higbee yesterday. Davis Allen just continues to find the end zone. And so those guys did a nice job. And then, with what Terrance had, I think he's only going to be a guy that's going to continue to improve. And we want to continue to find ways to get him involved. What does that look like? It's hard for me to say until we really get a game plan together this week.
When it comes to the running back usage, obviously flow of the game dictates it. Is there any things in particular that impact the snap counts for Blake Corum and Kyron Williams?
Yeah, I mean, we have certain substitution patterns. I think the best way to be able to be consistent with it is you're able to sustain drives. I think what you're looking for is something around a 65-35, ratio for those guys. I think you want Kyron playing about 2/3 of the time and Blake playing the other third. And so, different things come up. There's certain things that you want, Kyron on, but I think Blake has done an excellent job. I think Kyron will be at his best throughout the course of his season. And I think our job is to be able to figure out how to take advantage of two, really damn good football players in that running back room. And I thought Ron did a nice job with the rotation yesterday.
How has your approach to these back-to-back cross-country trips evolved over your career as head coach?
It really, it's another game, and I love kicking off at 10 a.m. in our heads. You don't have time to overthink stuff. You got to line, you get up early, you get a little caffeine in you, some sun on your face, and let's roll out the ball and let's go play the best we can. We try not to make it a bigger deal than what it is. I think, what I did learn during COVID, Brock, is that when we were forced to travel just the day before, guys like staying in their rhythm and routine, sleeping in their own beds, getting their body work or whatever it is that their Friday rhythm and routine is. And so another long flight, but another opportunity for us to get up and try to go play well in the 3-hour window that we're allotted. And it's an excellent, excellent challenge. It's going to be a great atmosphere and environment, but I think there can be a lot made about when you are and when you aren't. And it's really, the team that plays the best in that 3-hour window of time goes and gets the result they want.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wrap up with you, Nate.
Hey, Sean, just with Ahkello going down, obviously a little more attention is going to go to a guy like Emmanuel Forbes. So just what have you noticed out of him these first 2 weeks, and where do you feel like he's grown the most since you guys first got him last year?
Yeah, it's a good question, Nate. What you realize is this guy's grown physically, mentally. You're seeing him mature as a human being. And I think what's cool is he's added some weight without losing the athleticism, the movement. He's got really, I mean, you see why he had all the production he did in his college career. He's got a great concept trigger, got great ball skills. I think there's different opportunities that he can play where he's direct vision on the receiver, or he's being able to play visual on the quarterback with some different things that we do coverage wise. So I think just getting more and more comfortable with the ability to understand the intent of the calls, the different coverage contours, where some of his play ops are, what plays is he responsible for making, and then what are other ones where you say, hey, man, that's an unbelievable job, but get back in the huddle and play the next snap. He's just maturing. He's growing. I think he's earned the right to have a lot more confidence. And I just love the rapport that he has with his teammates. And it's really cool to see the relationship that he and Aubrey are developing, a lot of trust that's allowed him to continue to grow. And, him, along with, I think, Jacoby Durant, I could say a lot of the same for. He's playing really good football for us. And I thought it was cool for Darious to step in and play the quality snaps that he did when Ahkello went out, like I mentioned earlier.
And lastly, Emmanuel just has talked about how much belief you guys have kind of shown him since you got him last year and how he kind of needed that. I know a lot of the job is obviously coaching these guys hard, but I guess just how important is it to you to sometimes, be able to do that with a player who kind of needs, whether it's a fresh start or a new opportunity to kind of, remind him of why he's in this league and why he's here?
Yeah, I think when it can be authentic, for the most powerful words you can tell somebody, "All right, I believe in you." But it's got to be authentic, and it's got to be earned, and it's got to be, you got to feel like people are in it with you. I think Aubrey and Mike Harris and Chris Beek and Chris Shula, all of our coaches, I think they do a great job of that. And I've had some great mentors. I got great coaches on this staff that I look up to, players, but the power of belief is a real thing when it's authentic, and that's what we try to instill to bring out the best in people. And it's cool to hear him say that because you've seen tangible evidence of the improvement and what it can do for what he's capable of. And that's our job, is to bring out the best in these guys, number one as people and number two as players.
Thanks, Sean.
You got it, Nate.
Coach, you appreciate it.
All right. I like that you cut it off early, Artis. All right. See you guys.
Yep.
Hey, Byron, can you just take us through what I know you put in a lot of work this offseason, what it's been like to have the production you have these first 2 weeks?
It's been great, working so hard is obviously like you were saying, like start doing Pilates, y'all already knew that, but different things is basically to better my game and just it's good to see that it's, showing up and happening.
Sean said yesterday that he feels like you've taken your game to the next level. What does that look like for you?
Definitely just looking back on my first two seasons and, improving from that though. But, like you said, I definitely feel like I definitely took, some steps forward. Just trying to be better now with my first 2 years and just grow it every year. I feel like, I had a great start so far. I'm just trying to continue that.
If you were thinking about how you would describe this defense and what you guys have done in the first two games, what word would you use?
I said attack. I feel like our mentality is always the attack, whether that's the ball, attacking the tackles, getting to the quarterback. I feel like every down we trying to attack some type of way. And that's the type of defense, we was preaching, this whole offseason, just attack for the ball, like Landman, just getting to the ball, trying to stay near the ball, regardless, be close to it, just run to the ball. So I feel like attack is the perfect word.
Thank you.
Wyatt. Hey, Byron. Sean said it seems like, like mentally you're able to anticipate some more things. What has helped you, been able to do that, this year?
Just being more confident, just believing in myself and knowing the work I put in, the body of work and everything. Trusting the process. I put in so much work this offseason. I know like I could do it. I know I belong here. I know like I'm good enough to get a job done. So I feel like the confidence in me and just believing in myself.
Thank you.
Nate.
Hey, Byron, obviously it's a tough loss for you guys to lose Ahkello to the injury he had. Just what, in your time playing with him, what do you appreciate about him as a teammate and what impressed you about like the way he plays cornerback?
Definitely gonna miss Ahkello. Just talking with him every day and stuff like that, just being like a 9 year vet, picking his brain and just asking him how he, been doing it for so long. He just give me tips all the time. Like our locker is close to each other, so we're always talking. But definitely a guy I always keep in my corner. Someone that was doing stuff the right way since I got here, and I just want to be, just like him, like being the type of vet he is. Being a mentor for me. Just being a good guy.
Stu.
Hey, Byron, I know I've asked you about, Pilates before and how that's translating on the field. I know you noticed how that showed up, when you were practicing, but now that you're, working edges and doing things like that at game speed, how are you noticing, the positive impact and how that's translating, in an actual game?
Just about how loose I am and how I could bend a lot. Like the rush yesterday, I keep on replaying that rush just because the way I kind of bent the corner, and just bend my ankle and just flexing so much. Like doing Pilates, it definitely helped me a lot, in those areas. So I can see myself, I see myself improving in that ways and just continue to get better at different things like that. But that was, for the most part, for me, it was for like bending, and getting more flexible and getting around the corner, and it's coming together.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Adam.
And Byron, I know you were close with Michael, but when he leaves in the off season, that opens up a big opportunity for you. Like, how did that kind of impact the mindset and approach that you took this off season and coming into this season?
Yeah, losing Michael was, pretty hard. He was the older guy in the room and the mentor. When I first got here, he was the guy that kind of showed me the ropes, even though he was trying to learn it too. But, he was the guy that I could go to ask for help or question about anything. And when he left, it was like, I knew I had to step up. I knew I had to fill his shoes in some type of way. Being a guy that's older and going into the third year, I knew I had to really step up and try to be some type of leader in our room. But yeah, just being around a guy like that, he do everything right. I just try to like kind of be like him, simulate some of his things, and just the way he play on the field, he give 100% effort every play. So I'm just trying to mimic that a little bit.
When you say you knew you had to step up, like what did that mean to you in terms of like your preparation or your approach?
Just watching him every day, the way he approached everything and coming to the facility, like coming a lot earlier, studying a lot more film, like asking more questions or just knowing what to do, when the time comes, knowing your ops on the field. I feel like he taught me that, it's more than one way to fill a gap, to win a pass rush. Like, regardless of what it is, he always just was a step ahead. I think for me to better my game, I just had to step up in those roles and just understand the game and dissect it a little bit more, just how he does.
Yeah, Sean has talked about during training camp implementing more Mamba periods, hoping that would create more calluses for you guys during the season. Between these first 2 weeks, have you noticed a difference in like the team's readiness for adversity compared to September last year?
Definitely. The moment periods is definitely something good I love. It's just good on good, going against the one offense and going against Matthew Stafford every day, a guy that, been doing it for so long and, want to go to this game and just going against him getting better every day. I think it definitely got us in shape a lot. Again, it's ready for the game. Like having a great start so far versus last year in September. But no, I definitely could see the difference and just doing more of those like every day.
Yeah, and then you guys had the 2 games against the Eagles last year, and obviously Saquon was a big part of their wins. What lessons can you take from those 2 games to apply for this week?
Just play more sturdy in the run. Definitely a great running back, a great O-line. So we just got to play better on that part. Got to be more sturdy, like I said, and just got to knock out the run. That's something that they're known for is running the ball. So that's something that we're gonna have to be better at versus last time.
Thanks, Byron.
Thank you.
Brock,
Hi, Byron. What have you seen so far from Josiah Stewart in his development process?
Yeah, you take everything serious and he's just like a pro. Like he just never seen a guy well other than Verse. Verse did the same thing his rookie year, but just a guy like that, he approached everything like a pro and he didn't flinch. Like he get in the game, he was ready to go. Like he's the one just like us, like, getting his first sack, proud of him and everything he do his development. He asks questions, he ready to learn. Like he get off his get off is insane. Getting pressure to a quarterback, and that's something that we need in the room, especially Hoyt leaving. Someone definitely needed to step up. So him and Nick Hampton definitely did really good yesterday.
With these past couple of years of guys coming as rookies, learning, and then becoming the teachers, is that a part of the Rams culture? Is that an innate thing, or what is that?
I think it's definitely the Rams culture for sure. Just something that every year like you're kind of like a vet now. Like even though like maybe your second year or third year, you still got someone that could mentor. Someone else like Verse. Like this is his second year, he mentor Josiah. Like even sometimes he mentor Nick. At the same time, even I mentor Nick sometimes. But like it's in my eyes, like you never rookie or not, you never like too young or old to like mentor somebody or try to be a leader in the room.
With the end of the first half against the Titans, the wild touchdown and the interception, how were you able to stay focused and not let the emotions of the game impact your performance?
To be honest, it's something that like I've been going through all my life. Just not even about football, just like going through stuff all my life and understanding that stuff happens, but you can't just like hide your tail. You can't just run from it. You gotta like face it full on. So like just like the Texans, we went down going into halftime. We didn't flinch at all, and I just felt like it was more momentum. Like it was like it gave me more like energy, just to want to go back out there. Just staying with this game, being down, like that, and going into halftime, getting ball back. My mindset was just to come back out here and make a play. Like regardless what happens, make a play, because at the end of the day, like my brother relying on me and I'm relying on them, and I feel like when you think that way, it's less pressure. So for me, like I just go, regardless, we down or up, I just always try to keep the same mindset and don't try to overthink. So
Thank you, sir.
and then we'll wrap with Gary and Lauren.
Hey, Byron, thanks for doing this.
yeah.
So can you take us through the strip sack rush and kind of what you saw and how that came about?
Oh yeah, I kind of sensed that the back probably was going to chip me. I really wanted a speed rush, but I kind of sensed he was going to chip me, so I kind of played more heavy on the tackle because I knew he probably was going to get a little bump with me. So after he kind of chipped me a little bit, I was able to regain leverage and then take the tackle right arm and just knock it off me and just beat him around the corner. But my mindset then was just to be, relentless, to keep going. I knew like those type of plays is hustle plays, those type of plays is plays that you just like got to keep going. You got to keep the motor going, regardless of, like I said, you get chipped, you get double teamed. You got to just have the mindset like, okay, he's somewhere scrambling, and going against a guy like that kind of war, like he was trying to scramble the whole game and just make plays with his feet. So it's like I had a mindset like I wasn't gonna let him escape outside of me. So I just knew we needed a play, and I think we was probably up like 4 points maybe. So yeah, that was my mindset. Just try to make a play like I was saying before with adversity, and just remembering like it don't matter, just keep going.
Did you were you able to see Landman pick the ball up and kind of that drag that guy towards the end zone? Did you get a view of that? What were you thinking as they were trying to punch the ball out of his hands?
So once I seen him pick up the ball, I just laid on the ground. Okay, it was like we was close to the end zone. I looked and I seen him running. I just laid on the ground because like Josiah knocked me down because I was trying to get up at first to get in. He was trying to get it in. Me and him, we hit each other. I said I'm just laying on the ground. I was tired, and then I look up, I look out, I see Landman running. I said, "Yeah, go Landman," but I'm still laying down. 'Cause I was trying to get up. Then Josiah was helping me up, but just Landman, he always around the ball. Like he was, if you look at the play, he was almost, I think, close to probably 10 or 12 yards away from the ball. And he somehow got the ball. And it's just like, just type of guy he is, just always around the ball and just, having that type of pursuit every play.
Thanks very much.
Appreciate you.
And then Lauren.
Hey Byron, I just want you actually perfect segue. Sean McVay talked about your relentless motor. I just wanted to ask you kind of where that comes from, what the motivation is behind that, and also he talked about just like your energy on game day. Are there any things that you kind of have rituals for or going into game day? What your preparations are, or any kind of quirky things that you have going into game day?
Not too much. Just always having the mindset that I try to be the fastest person on the field always and try to run all the time. And even when I'm tired, I just always say I feel like they're more tired than me. That's kind of my mindset. Always hustle to the ball because you never know where you might be around the play. Like you could run full speed like Landman did, and he was just around the play because he was running full speed. You never know what might happen. I try to have that mindset. And it kind of got growed on me a lot more from rookie year to just always, hustle to the ball, regardless if he's near you or not. He might cut back. Who knows? The quarterback might spin back to you and you can have a free sack right there. So I try to just keep that mindset. I think it looked better to run, the on film and always hustle and just try to be near the ball.
And then just as a follow-up, just having so much talent on the defense, how have you learned or grown just in these like last two games, just having some of these guys like Landman and players like that to be able to just kind of help you?
It's great, just being around those type of guys and just communicating. That's the biggest thing I feel like is the communication is just perfect right now. Just everybody's talking, everybody just letting each other know like what you see, like what you think, and just like I think it helps out the defense. That's a great defense right there. Like when everybody is communicating and on the same page. You wrong, you wrong. But at the same time, it's like for us, I feel like we always just, talk to each other if we see something, if we feel like we could win this rush or whatever the case may be. Landman might want to do this. If he's blitzing, he might want to switch over with me. Who knows? That's just something we always do.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. All right. Thanks, guys.
Hey, Coleman. Your last season with the Rams, 23, this was such a young team, and it took so long to really establish like what the identity of that team was. Now coming back and being part of this team for 2 games now and through the offseason, like how have you seen the identity and culture grow from like that really young raw team to where they are now?
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool that in both the first 2 games, there's kind of been like a no flinch, like just go get it mentality. Like adversity comes, but it's not going to affect us. We're going to keep putting our head down and going to work and kind of just going out there and not letting anything get to us and just playing hard, just trusting our process and continuing to go. And, as you saw, how we finished both games, things don't always go our way, but we got to be able to finish the game.
How did that apply yesterday just to the Lions' approach to, kind of pounding your head against the wall in the run game for 3 quarters and then breaking through towards the end of the game?
Yeah, it's trust in the process. Like we have a feeling like, hey, we're hitting our blocks. Like sometimes the plays don't hit. You'll hit a 2 yard run or 3 yard run, then eventually one's going to pop, and then if one pops, you'll get more. The more you do it, the more you trust it, and then you can just find the holes, and it'll just there'll be cracks in the walls, and it'll work out.
What'd you think of Justin Dedich's game yesterday?
I think he did awesome. He's a fun guy to play next to. He's an aggressive guard, which is super fun. He goes out there and just plays as hard as he can, and that's what you want. And the guys you're playing next to, you're a guy you trust who's going to go out there and give everything he's got, which he did.
Like how do you judge like an aggressive guard?
I just really the way I judge it is he just doesn't back down. He doesn't play anything safe. He's going to go shoot his shot. He's going to throw his hands. He's going to go 100 miles an hour. He's going to go do his thing.
Thanks, Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
Gary?
Hey, Coleman.
Hey.
I'm guessing you're just now starting to dig into the Eagles, but what's the biggest challenge facing that front, specifically Jalen Carter?
Yeah, I mean they got a really good defense. Obviously, they're coming off a Super Bowl win, so we need to get to the work and put our heads down and get ready to work this week. It's at the end of the day, it's about us, like I always preach, and we guys got to go out there and do our thing and trust each other up front so we can protect Matthew and get the run game going.
Speaking of the run game, Blake Corum came in yesterday and kind of gave the offense a shot. What have you seen from him? I know they're lining up behind you, but what kind of impact have you seen him have so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's just every day the way he comes into work. He's a great guy, and he comes in and he's ready to roll, and he's always positive, and you can trust him when he's back there. And he found some great seams yesterday and scored his first touchdown where everybody was pumped about. So I was happy for him, and happy for the team that he was able to do that and give us a little spark.
Thanks very much.
Yep.
Stu?
Hey, Cole, I was just curious what you noticed about Matthew's demeanor after he threw the interception. When we talked to Davante post game, he just said, mentioned how that he was really impressed by that and just how that even keeled approach really impacted the rest of the group. What difference did that make for you and the offensive line, especially?
Yeah, I mean, we have so much trust in Matthew. Like he's the pro's pro. He's going to do everything the right way. So, when a little adversity hits, we know he's not going to flinch and we're going to still shoot our shot. So it's kind of just like, that's just happened. Let's turn the page and move on. And, we trust our leader every time.
And then some of the things that the Eagles do with, their defensive front looked like there have been instances where they've even changed the look just right before the snap. I mean, I'm obviously not asking you to get into too much detail with that, but just generally, when you face a front like that, what kinds of things do you have to do from a communication standpoint to keep people, keep everybody on the same page with that in terms of like protection calls?
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's just kind of trusting your knowledge of what's going on in the play. Like you can communicate so much, but if something changes last second, you can't really change the way you said it originally. So it's just you got to trust the scheme and the theory of the play and knowing exactly who you got in the second it switches. Okay, who does it now go to? So it's kind of just like we all five up front got to work together and feel things out as they move around.
And then we'll wrap with Wyatt.
Hey, Coleman. The offense had quite a few explosive runs yesterday. What do you guys, up front have to succeed at to set those backs up to, get into the second and third level of the defense?
Yeah, we got to stay in our guys and we got to finish. Don't let your guy get in on the tackle or be there to affect the runner. At the end of the day, you got to stick to them. And our backs and Puka's run, they're gonna find a way eventually. They'll make a guy miss and it'll happen. So just sticking to our guys and kind of just focus on what we have to do.
Thank you.